You've been working with a lot of businesses. How can some of them grow more than others?
It's a great question. And so then I became a scaling up coach. And so with the scaling up, we work with the CEO and the executive team, and we're trying to scale them. And to be direct, what I'm trying to do is I want to 10x that. I want to take whatever your revenue is, multiply it by 10. I want to do that though over a 3 to 5 year period. What I've learned is that, first of all, I find that companies are just solving the wrong problem. Every year, it's usually around this time of the year, the dance happens. And the dance starts like this. The CEO comes down and says, how much are we going to grow next year? The team comes up and says, we're going to grow 5%. The CEO says, that's not enough. No, that's not enough. He says, I need at least 7%. And they debate back and forth and they settle on 6. This happens everywhere in the world right now. What I did early on when I became the number one salesperson, I was solving a different problem. What happened to me was I had the opportunity where I rode with the president of a division, and he ran $2 billion division. And I brought in an opportunity to him, and I said, hey, your team is not responding to this opportunity. And he says, well, what is it? And I started explaining it to him, and he says, well, how big is it? And I said, it's $1 million. And he said, well, that's cute. And I said, that's cute, it's $1 million. And fortunately, I was young at the time, and he realized who he was dealing with, and he was very gracious. And he said, Dale, I recognize that to you, $1 million is a lot. You've got a $5 million territory, $1 million is 20% growth. That's significant. I have a $2 billion business I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to solve a different problem. It wasn't long after that I got my quota for the year. And it was probably 6, 7, 8%. And I thought, I did the quick math and got paid on year-over-year growth. And I thought, that's really just not that interesting. At the time, and this is way before 10x became a vogue thing, but I just multiplied by 10 because I think anybody can do that math. So I had a $5 million territory and I went out looking for 50. And for me, what I found was the only places where I could find that kind of revenue was in San Diego. It was cell phones, which we had no products for, and in TV set-top boxes, which we had 95% market share in San Diego. I was solving a different problem, and I ended up doing 100 million. I found more than my 50. And where I'm going with that is, I think people are just solving the wrong problem. When I do this with teams and I ask them, I want to multiply their business by 10, I don't know their industry. I don't know what opportunities are available to them. I'm just trying to pull it out of them. A perfect response that I get out of them is, well, if you want to grow by that much, and then I say yes, and they tell me. And this has happened my entire career. This happened with sales people as I've hired them, product managers.
So they just tell you what?
They know, they've never been asked. They've just never been asked. Everybody actually knows. They just haven't been asked. It's really interesting in working with teams on this. Then, though, it's a decision on, do they want to pursue it or not? Do they, as you're the CEO, a common comment might be, you know, hey, I've worked so hard on this business, I don't want to do it again. I don't want to work that hard. Or I have all my money invested in this business, I don't want to put more into it. So they have all these different reasons. It's a kind of a weird thing, but I really believe that in most cases, one, they're just not equipped to do it. Two, they've never really tried to solve the bigger question.
Are they in a box in a sense by what they have accomplished?
What most companies will tell you is they have a sales issue. Coming up through sales, I've heard this my whole career. The reason is that if you have a sales issue, it's the easiest one to solve for. I just need more salespeople. I need better salespeople. That's like the easiest one to solve for. It says that everything else is wonderful. I just have bad salespeople. The reality of it is about 90, I think it's like 93% of companies that I've worked with so far have not had a sales issue. They've had some other issue. If they really want to grow if they really want to 10x their business, they have to do something different. And it's interesting too on the growth side is that if I go in and work with a team, if the CEO goes and says to the team, I want to grow by 6, 7, 8%, the team gets frustrated. They're just so frustrated. Why? Because they think, I'm already working flat out. I can't work any harder. And he just wants 6, 7, 8% more out of me. And I'm just not willing to give it, right? When I go in and say that we're going to 10x a business, they actually get excited. They're thrilled. Why? Because we're going to finally do something different. We're going to invest in the business. There's going to probably be opportunity for me. I bet you I'll be able to get a promotion. Maybe I'll be able to get some pay raises. Maybe we'll invest in that one resource I've always wanted. They actually get excited about the idea of getting behind a 10x growth more than they do a 6% growth.
In terms of the companies that can make it, that can grow, is there anything unique about them?
There's a statistic that says only 4% of companies ever make it beyond $1 million, which to me is a staggering statistic. By the time you get to 10 million, it's 0.4% of companies.
Out of every 10,000 companies, probably 4 of them will make it to 10 million.
Yeah, it's a staggering statistic. What's going on there? This was actually something that I've been trying to solve for. Like, what is really happening there? So I think it's one thing to have the strategy, and then the next thing is you do need to have the right tools in place and the right people. With scaling up, our pillars are people, strategy, execution, and cash. And you need those 4 pillars in order to have a successful company. If you think about it, on the strategy part, which is really what we're just talking about, that's one element of it. We have to have the strategy right so we know what we're actually aiming for. Without the strategy, you don't know what people you need. You don't know how much cash you need. You don't know what you're executing. So you need that strategy first. The thing that I run into on the people side is one that I was not prepared for. I did not run into this in corporate America, but I do run into it in a lot of these other companies, is that usually there will be somebody, and it's kind of a strange one. It's usually your number 2 person that's like the second in command. Maybe it's a COO, a president type of person, who the words they use is, we don't have time for this, we have to get back to work. And just to be clear, it has nothing.
Does that happen a lot?
It happens all the time. And just to be clear, it doesn't have to do with this program, it has to do with every program. They don't want to do anything different. The comment that I hear from CEOs is, I don't know what's going on. I have this vision, and I just can't seem to execute to it. And meanwhile, they have a president or COO who's trying to keep running the same playbook. They don't want to change. And of course, as an outsider, it's always clear as day, right? And I'm like, I have some ideas, This is really a big part of it. It's the meeting after the meeting. The CEO or the president or COO walks out of the meeting and says, we don't have time for this, we have to get back to work. Everybody looks up to him and says, okay, I guess we're not doing that one. And it's done. It stops before it even starts. And this will be true of any initiative. The people side of it is an interesting one.
Have you found out why that happens? Is it they're burnt out by all sorts of ideas?
Think I'm speculating. But what I believe, the premise that I have is that they have the machine running right now, and maybe it's running well. They just don't want to mess it up. And it's generating whatever it's generating. But if you want to grow it, you have to do something different, and they don't want to do something different. It's running right now, right? So I think it has to do with that. The other one that I'm running into is there's this thing where you'll have the team members who are looking out for their own best interest. They're looking out maybe for the best interest of their team, but they're not looking out for the best interest of the company. This is another one that's a killer for companies, is when you don't really have them working as a team and they're not really looking out for the best interest of the company. A lot of that can be corrected, more than the other, actually. A lot of that can be corrected. It's an educational thing. It's hard for people to make a decision to, do something that may not only be beneficial to their group, but may be detrimental to their own group, but it's beneficial to the company. That's when you have a fiduciary of the company.
What are the signs of that?
The way it shows up for me, because I'm in these executive meetings, is it's always about me, it's always about my team, and they will fight what's going on with the rest of the organization. So they will be counter to the bigger initiatives that we're trying to do, or they won't even get engaged in the process of trying to make that happen. They won't contribute, they won't engage, and then I would say a step further is they may even try to hurt the process.
By talking negatively about it or causing.
Right. Those are the ones that are really the bigger cancer.
Is there a big disconnect between the leaders that you see, the CEOs and the teams?
A lot of times,
Why
yeah.
is that?
We put a lot of work into this area, actually. It's a great question. A lot of it is just around the way they actually go to business. I mean, do you have your, Jim Collins calls it the big, hairy, audacious goal. And then do you have your 3-year goal? And then do you have your annual goals? And then do you have your quarterly goals or priorities, right? And then is the team all driving toward those, or are they doing something else? So to me, what we work a lot on is that structure of execution around these big, hairy, audacious goals, and everything kind of leading toward the big goal that we want to achieve. What I've found is there's only these 6 levers that you have available to grow your business. The first one is product penetration. So product penetration just is your sales and marketing process. It's the easiest one.
Trying to sell more.
Trying to sell more of what you have with the team, or with maybe a different strategy, right? So that's product penetration. The next one, and what I'll say is, as you go up, each one of these gets about 10% more difficult. The next one is product extensions. Product extensions would be like Apple every year comes out with a new iPhone. That's a product extension. They're important, but they're cannibalistic. So usually you're not growing your business that much, but it's more of a protective mechanism. It's a blocking mechanism to keep the business you have today. Then you go up to market expansion. Market expansion says you're going into a new industry or a new geography, moving from Orange County to LA, right? So that's market expansion. Sounds simple enough. It actually, there's challenges there. Different market, might be different marketing requirements. Penetrating a new market can be challenging, or new industry. The next one is a new offering, new product or new offering. That's usually something that's in your lane. It's something that you've done before, but you're just going to make a different type of an offering than what you've done before. We made cameras before, we're going to make a different type of camera today, that type of thing. And then the next one is diversification. And diversification is something that says, it's totally different to you. You've never done anything in this market before. You know nothing about it, right? So it's the large technical risk and a lot of challenges around diversification. When I use the word diversification, the hair on the back of my neck stands up because I have so many wounds from trying to diversify. As soon as you say diversification, you have to say the next one, which is acquisitions. So you do a make versus buy decision. Should we try to enter this market that we know nothing about? Or should we just go out and do an acquisition and acquire somebody who's actually already in that market? So that leads to the last one, which is acquisitions.